guys, today we're going to talk about playing this chord progression in major and minor keys. 1, 5, 6, 4, 1, 6, 4, 5, 6, 4 to 5, 3, 1, 4, 6, 4, and 1. You'll see right above I've written the numerals for the minor key as well. Notice that in both the major and the minor, the 5 stays the same. It's major both times because in our minor key we still have to have the raised leading tone. So our dominant will always be major. Before I break this down for you, let me show you how to play this one so you can hear what it sounds like. First, here it is in C major. Now in the parallel minor. Now let's take a look at the exercise written above. You'll see the Roman numerals listed below each chord and the chord symbols listed above each chord. Some of these chord symbols have a slash and another note after them. These indicate the note that goes in the bass to create the correct inversion. Take a look at the left hand. In C major, we can see it makes a nice 5-finger scale with its pattern. Pretty straightforward. So anywhere that you're going to play this pattern in any key, you're going to set up your left hand as if it were about to play the scale. Okay, so you can practice it that way. Now let's take a look at what right hand is doing because it's a little bit more involved. Still staying with C major, let's consider right hand by itself and see what inversion these chords are in. So looking at right hand alone, we can see the first chord, our tonic, C major, which is in second inversion. This moves to the 5 chord in root position. Then to tonic again with one note doubled. Moves to 4 in root position. 1 in first inversion. 5 in second inversion. Back again to 4 in root position and back again. Now let's take a look at what fingering we're using for these chords. And using the consistent fingering is going to make playing these patterns a lot easier. So I'm going to start with this chord in a 1, 3, 5. Hand stays in the same spot, moving to the next chord with 1, 2, 4. Still in the same spot, 1, 3. Now the whole hand is going to move to 1, 3, 5 for the 4 chord. Then I'm going to move my thumb over 1 key to 1, 2, 5. Thumb moves again, 1, 2, 4. And thumb moves back. Then thumb moves again, 1, 3, 5. And back. This fingering is consistent even in the minor key. Let me demonstrate. 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 4, back, 1, 3, 5, and back. Now let's take a look at what each voice is doing with solfege. First in the major, starting with the bass voice. Do, re, mi, fa, so, so, do, do, do. Next, the tenor, which is starting on so. So, so, so. Fa, mi, re, mi, fa, mi. Now Now the alto, starting on do. Careful, the alto is going to be doubling the soprano in the third chord. Do, ti, do, la, so, 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 la, so. Finally, the soprano, starting on mi. Mi, re, do, do. Now let's take a look at how these change ever so slightly when we switch to the minor. Bass only has one altered note, and that's going to be from mi to me. Do, re, mi, fa, so, so, do, do, do. Tenor is also going to be affected by mi. So, 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 fa, mi, re, mi, fa, mi. Alto is going to be affected by la, which is moving to lay. Do, ti, do, lay, so, 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 lay, so. Soprano is affected only on its first pitch, mi. Mi, re, do, 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 ti, do, do, do. Now, how do we practice this chord progression? As I said in my last video, a really good way to practice this is hands alone, then hands together, and moving either through the circle of fifths or linearly up and down the keys. So with left hand with this pattern, for example, I would start with C. But I would also practice it in its parallel minor. The right hand, I would practice it by itself, and any key that I hit, I would play the major and the parallel minor. Let me demonstrate what this will look like when you put both hands together. So since I've already played in C, major and minor, let me switch to D, major and minor. So D will start here. Do it in the parallel minor. A good playing tip when you're working with keys that have more sharps and flats too is to move in a little bit more higher on the key so that you're more in line with the foot of the black keys. A lot of people want to play out here, and it makes it really hard then to access the black keys with your thumb or your pinkies. You usually have to like twist your wrist. So instead, just move the whole hand in. Let me demonstrate with the key of B flat. So you can see how high I am on the key, really more towards the center than out here. Let me show you how much more difficult it is to play in B flat minor now if my hands are sitting out here. Feels really awkward, looks really awkward, and a lot more mistakes. So just scoot that hand in and everything will stay in line a lot better. So that's it for this progression. Let me know if you have any questions.